Judges still not taking these insurrectionists seriously. On January 6th, the US Capitol was attacked by domestic radicalized terrorists, but they are receiving sentences as if they committed, I don't know, unlawful protest, because that's what many of them are allowed to plead to. So let me take you to a federal judge and something that happened by a guy named Doug Jensen, a QAnon believer and Trump supporting insurrectionist. He will be released from jail. He gets to go home now after being a leader, and I want to qualify that in a minute, being a leader in this insurrection against the United States government. He will have to wear electronic monitoring. The reasoning, because a US district judge named Timothy Kelly said Jensen could not have pre-planned or coordinated his actions, as Jensen had no basic understanding of even where he was. Now, why would a judge say that? Well, I'm going to show you, okay? By the way, this is the same dude at the front of the mob chasing Officer Eugene Goodman. Jensen, 41, was the man wearing a beanie and the QAnon conspiracy theory t-shirt. Here's some of that footage. Looks like a leader to me. Looks like he's leading a mob while chasing the police up the stairs. I don't know, am I missing something? The judge said Jensen positioning himself at the front of the mob, and I quote, maybe some leadership, but only in the narrowest sense. That's what the judge said to justify letting this mob insurrectionist terrorist leader go home. The judge said Jensen's actions during the confrontation of Goodman were deeply concerning and quite serious, but he noted that Jensen is not accused of toppling any barricades, damaging any property, or fighting with anybody at the Capitol. The judge said, oh, what just happened? Oh, this is bad. This is concerning. But he didn't break anything while leading the terrorist insurrection, did he? Oh, okay. He needs to go home. There's more. Judge Kelly cited Jensen's lack of grade school level understanding of the US government in his decision to release Jensen. Jensen, in January 6 videos that were released to the media on Monday night, repeatedly stated that he believed he was at the White House, but he was at the Capitol. And the judge said, oh my gosh, this poor guy. Obviously, he lacks the educational fortitude to actually be a leader in this terrorism. Let's go to more video.
This is me touching the White House. This is why we're here. White House, just so you know. Storm the White House. That's what we do.
Okay, so let me get this right. Because you're a dumbass, you get to go home. Because you have a failure to understand civics, American government, you get to go home. As a matter of fact, to the judge that made this ruling. You do realize, Judge, that everybody there has a fundamental misunderstanding of the US government. They were there to disrupt the electoral college process constitutionally mandated by the United States Constitution. They all have a misunderstanding of how government should work. So because of his ignorance of civics, he's able to get a lighter sentence and he can go home. Man, I have never known this to work for anybody but a white male terrorist. Benjamin, your thoughts?
Absolutely the case. White male terrorists, the only people who can get away with this, because had those races been changed, Eugene Goodman, the officer, had he been white and the people breaking into the Capitol had been black, our bodies would still be staining the ground right now, our blood. That's number one. The number two is the extent to which this system will excuse white. It's definitely not white supremacy, I'll tell you that much. We get to the point where you have one judge who let a white guy off because he had affluenza. He was too affluent to go to jail. He had another judge who let a guy off from the insurrection because he had Fox mania. He watched the Fox News too much, and that's why he went to the insurrection. And now this guy is getting off because he's a part of the idiocracy. There is no limit to what extent this system will excuse white mediocrity, even when that mediocrity is confident enough to march up the steps of the White House when it's actually the Capitol.
Yeah, you gotta think about something, man. You've never heard this kind of defense for black or brown terrorists. They never got a benefit. Hell, if they were just outside with the group, they got the same charges as everybody else around them. Nobody took special notice or care to their particular background or educational fortitude. Nobody cared about that. No judge decided to make nuances for them. But all of a sudden, for individuals who are in commission of terrorism and insurrection against the United States government, all of a sudden, they get the benefit of the doubt, significant benefit of the doubt. And why? The judge's reasoning? Because they fundamentally misunderstand what government is. I have never heard of this before, man.
Dr. Richey, absolutely. And then I'm really looking at this. America needs to make up its mind because you see what white supremacy is doing. You see what it wants to do. It literally marched up the steps of the Capitol to overthrow the government. Those people believed that they had enough manpower there to overturn the election. That is treason. Yeah. And the Capitol police officer, a black man standing there defending the Capitol. Yeah, America needs to decide if it's going to keep supporting the protests or the violence from white supremacists, or are they going to support the protest of black lives?
Very well said, brother. And let me make this final note, because the final word from the judge on this, Judge Kelly reiterated that his decision to release Jensen under strict conditions shouldn't be read as an indication that the judge believes Jensen's conduct wasn't serious, or an indication of how Jensen will be sentenced after his conviction. Sorry, Judge, that's exactly what it means. That is exactly what it means. And let me tell you why, and I mean this in a legal context. When a judge says you can go home, that judge is saying, I do not believe you are likely to reoffend. To reoffend, that's what the judge is saying. Now you have an individual who has committed an atrocity against the United States government, who tried to chase down an actual police officer while leading a mob. So what does the judge do in order to minimize the penalty here, or to justify him being able to go home? He says, oh, he wasn't really a leader. Really? He was kind of a leader. Oh, no, he wasn't smart enough to plan it. The guy didn't even know, poor guy. He didn't even know exactly what building he was at. And that is the judge's judicial thinking as he says this person should be allowed to go home. I promise you, if this would have been a person with the last name Muhammad or something of that nature, or if this would have been a black person, they would not have been given the same treatment by this judge. Yeah, and everybody knows it. Some people may argue that point, and it's great for an intellectual debate and discussion, but in your heart, everyone knows good and damn well, I don't care what party affiliation you may have, you know good and damn well, if this would have been somebody else, they never would have received that kind of treatment, that kind of benefit from a sitting federal judge.